This is a walkthrough of Activity 5-2, creating and viewing shared folders with computer management. Okay, so we need to get to computer management. If you recall from previous chapters and exercises, there are two ways. One is by right-clicking on My Documents and saying Manage, and of course these are from the GUI. The other way is to say Start, Administrative Tools, Computer Management. And if you notice, they're the same. It's just two ways to get to the same tool. What we're looking for is under System Tools. It may need to be expanded, as the book says. Usually this is the default view, everything's expanded, but it will save what you did the last time you were in here. And we want to look under Shared Folders. So with the exploded view, we notice we have three things. We have shares, the folders that we've made available as shares, as resources on the network. The sessions, which are users connected to it, so therefore open sessions, those who are accessing files on the network. Open files. These are just two ways. This lists the users, this lists the files that are being shared out at that time. Hence a session. That connection between the distant end and the local end to share out a network resource. But we're interested in looking in shares. And we see here a couple ones we didn't see previously. These are hidden shares. They cannot access eDirectly unless they have administrator level privileges, but we can create shares underneath these drives, which is what we did for profiles as well as for our apps folder, which we named applications. So that's where you see here it's the name of the share, not the name of the folder we created, and you'll see that in a second. So when we create a new share, and of course this is only in here because we're looking in the share view, and we're going to follow the example here in the book, and it says we want to create. I'm going to deviate because I don't have a D drive to write on. That's my optical, but I'm going to have an I'm going to have the E drive, and I'll say E:/MKTG::DOCS. So marketing docs. It's going to prompt us that it doesn't exist. Do I want to create it? Yes. And here is where they're wanting us to put in the information, just like we did with Explorer when we manually created the folder and set its properties. This is just a handy wizard of doing it for us. I really can't say the virtue of one way or the other. It's whichever you're familiar with. You will still be managing permissions to these resources in pretty much the same way, but that's in another example. So we want to say marketing docs. That's what we want to call the share. The description will be all marketing documentation. In number 8 of the exercise, this is where it's asking us to set share level permissions. A quick discussion: there are two types of permissions you can do in an NT based environment. Windows 2003 is just based on NT technology, and it has share level, which is the basic share to get it out on the network for people to view it. Then you can set a higher granularity permissions using the NTFS, NT file system permissions, which allows finer granularity on what they can view, what they can execute, what they can read or not read, what they can list or not list, things of that nature. For this exercise, we're just going to say administrators have full access, users have read-only access. This is a little different than what we did before. Before we set a share that said everyone has full access. This is just a handy little wizard to say administrators can do anything, all other users can only read what's in the folder, but they can't delete, they can't change the content, and therefore everything in the share is protected. So we're going to say finish. This gives us a summary of what we've done. And now, just like we did before using Internet Explorer, we now have a new share called Marketing Docs. We want to see that this folder exists, so it wants us to come down in here using Internet Explorer or any other Gecko-based browser. And we want to say VM domains, but we don't want to see that. We want to say Marketing Docs. It already knows it's there, and it'll let us see it. Another way you can view it, and this is the real test, is to go to a machine. In this case, this is Windows XP, as you can see, and I've already logged in as a previous user. We've created we should be able to do the same thing. And notice here, because it's network aware, it sees marketing docs. Going back to our domain controller, this is to show you what's happened with the permissions. So I'm going to create a folder, and in the folder I'm going to create a file under marketing docs. Let's say rich6 file and say try and change me. So I can open that up and say I am saving changes as an administrator. Now if I open that up again, it saves my changes. Now if I go back to XP, notice we have the file here, and I was told that I had the ability to read it, but I shouldn't have the ability to change it. So I am saving changes as a common user. And it says access is denied. That's an example of share level permissions where the administrator on the server could do it, but a common user could not. That's what this was attempting to demonstrate. This concludes our walkthrough of example 5-2, creating and viewing shared folders using computer management.